great pleasure of being here next to this great man, Dr. Sebi, who has invited me to his house. And I'm also here on a monthly retreat, cleaning my body, taking his wonderful herbs. Well, I shouldn't say your wonderful herb, the earth.
The wonderful herbs.
The wonderful herbs of this fabulous place here in Ausha village in Honduras. And now we're taking the time to interview Dr. Sebi and get his input and also his wisdom on what is this entire thing that we call alkaline and acid, and what are the foods and herbs and fruit and things that we should be eating to keep this vehicle healthy. We had just been talking a little bit before, and he said basically the ultimate food is oxygen, and we're also going to ask him about that. Dr. Sebi, welcome to the show, and thank you very much for setting the time to share your wisdom with us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Guzman. You also is a great man and a wonderful man. From the day I met you, I want you to know that I felt your vibration. And you are a very accommodating individual. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. About alkalinity and acidity, it's good to know them. Very good. Very important nowadays. But in the days of the black man in the jungle and the Inca in the jungle, the American Indian in the jungle, the Maya, the Toltec, the Olmec, the Paya, they didn't even have to think about alkalinity and acidity. Why? They only had alkalinity. So you see, this is why what I just described is considered the organic family. Today, we live in a highly scientific world, a very developed world, but we're living in a precarious time in which what we see is that because of us deviating from the path that the Maya, the Inca, the black man, the American Indian, and the Toltecs in Mexico, they lived connected to the cosmic procession. They didn't have waste because everything was what? Biodegradable, recyclable. Even the fecal matter was recyclable. And this is the reason why they didn't need toilets. So now we're talking about alkalinity and acidity. Well, why do we have to do that? Why do we even have to talk about acidity when the planet was constructed on the structure of alkalinity? Why? Because it is alkalinity that is alive. Whenever a substance is alkali, the base of that substance is what? Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The Chinese call that the Cho arrangement. That is the arrangement of life. Carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Chinese said Cho, which is cool. Now, why do we have to entertain alkalinity? Because it looked like we just began to wake up. That we have been poisoned for approximately 500 years since the arrival of the great Christopher Columbus. He was the one that brought rice and beans and chicken and hogs and turkeys and dogs and cows. We didn't have that in our environment. We did not have that because those things aren't natural things, or animals aren't natural, nor the food. They were acid. The cow, very acid. If you take the milk of a cow and give it a pH test, it is 5.5. But if you take the milk of a buffalo and give it a pH, it's 9 point something. There is a difference. So why do we have to entertain alkalinity? Those of us that are aware that it is in the alkali world that we really receive life and nourishment, nutrition. Acidity, just by the nature of the word, it tells you, stay away. I'm acid. But nature doesn't make acids. Nature has never made a substance that is acid. If nature has, which is it? If nature had made an acid substance, then nature and God is unfair. Man is the originator of all acids.
But when you say nature hasn't made any acid elements or any acid fruits, but what about the lemon? Isn't that acid? And some people would argue and say, well, you can take acids, and once you take it in, the body will convert it to alkaline.
I've heard that philosophy and theories for years. Mm-hmm. The body does not convert any acid substance into alkalinity. But there is a difference with lime and lemon. Lime is alkali. Lemon is acid. Like a grapefruit. Like a civil orange. They call it naranja aire in Spanish. A civil orange is alkali. Not a grapefruit. Not an orange like the Valencia. They're all acid based. And funny as it may seem, we associate acidity with something that is sour. Right. Am I right?
Yes.
No way. When I will give you the sweetest thing on the planet, cane. There is nothing on the planet that has more acid than cane, and it is sweet. You know what is the acid? They call it glyceric acid. This is why once upon a time it was prohibited to sell sugar. But now it is the highest and most subsidized substance on the planet by government. Sugar is one of the worst stimulants that you could put in your mouth. It is very acid. Glyceric acid. So as we think that the substance has to be sour to be acid, not so. A lime, like the key lime, that's very alkaline. The other one they call the Persian lemon, that's very acid. There's a difference. Always look for that which nature made. Nature did not make an acid substance. I've heard people talk about nature even go to the process of cross-pollinating itself. Not so. Never. I never make an acid substance.
We also hear that sometimes on the pH scale, right, it says you should not go too alkaline. Obviously, you can't be too acid, but try to stay in 7. Is that such a thing, or can we be in the pH scale at 9 or 10?
The higher you go on the pH scale, the higher the alkali environment will be. In alkalinity, nature doesn't allow you to go beyond 9.8. You don't have to be afraid. If you could take your body there, it would be better for you. But man has found a way to take a machine and take the pH up to 14. That is what you find in a battery. A battery has what you call sulfuric acid. Am I right?
Yes.
Sulfuric acid is highly alkaline, artificially made. They have been doing some really crazy things in the past. But batteries are alkaline because nature does not express itself in acidity. No, it says alkali on every battery you buy. But we haven't begun to notice the root, the very base of nutrition. We have not considered factors that needed to be considered, and they are very extremely important. Like, for instance, genetical traits of the individual. Why? Gene has to be considered. Gorillas doesn't eat polar bear food. Eagle doesn't eat the food of the quetzal. So, in healing or nourishing someone, we have to go again to the world of alkalinity. The world of alkalinity is going to feed whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're Chinese, whether you're Eskimo. The world of alkalinity complements everybody. Where the breakdown is seen is that the diet of different individuals. The diet. Oh yeah? Well, I think the diet is key. So if you're going to heal someone, or you're going to nourish someone, you have to find a diet that is consistent with that person.
Does that have to do anything with the blood? Because we also hear that too. We have to have a certain type of blood so you can eat meat, and if you don't have this kind of blood, you can't eat meat. Is that what you're going with?
Well, the blood is part of the representation of the structure of the DNA. The DNA is at the core of it. The blood is part of it because it's going to express what the DNA message is. Like, for instance, as a black man, I cannot eat the amount of fat that an Eskimo eats, right?
Right.
I would clog my arteries. Oh, that Eskimo eats a lot of fat. Why? Because he needs it. He lives in the cold.
That's right.
Me, I live naked in the jungle. I don't need that. There's a difference. We have to begin to understand that there are differences in all of us on this planet. Not that the Eskimo is better than the Bedouin, or the black man is better than the Arab. That doesn't exist in nature. What exists in nature is difference. There are differences, not better and worse, good and bad. So as we talk about food and nutrition, we have to think about what? Genetics. Because it will be applied to the food that that individual is going to consume. Like I asked the question to the Supreme Court of New York. We, the black people of the world, we have been severed from the umbilical cord of Africa. We know that. Well, we don't have any problem with it. But in that breaking, there were many things that we needed to have or know about ourselves. I've been recording information for the last 60 years of my life. And I have yet to hear a professor, a scholar, or a sage to even mention the importance of the food that is consistent with the black race. They have never talked about it. So everything that we black people have been doing is all superficial. It is until our diet changed that our thinking would change. As for right now, there are many of us who have considered it and are doing it. Are making an effort at least, because we see the value of it. Like an Eskimo, he never deviated from his fish diet. He eats pieces of whales and stuff, but that is his food. That is not an African food. But we are confounded, and we have been made so sick that when we look at it, we get scared. Something goes through our skull. I can't do that. Oh, no stuff. Well, I'll tell you this. I was one that heard information in Mexico about black people. I never heard it from the scholars in America, because there aren't any books that have written anything on the subject. But how this Mexican knew, I don't know, but he did. And because of what he did, brought me to this place that I am now, the person I am, and the state of health I am. He made me aware of something, that there aren't any black scholars, white scholars, Chinese, Arab, Eskimo. This Mexican, Alfredo Cortez, the baddest of the baddest. He showed me the value of understanding your own genetical predisposition. Nobody else did that but him. And because he opened that window, everything has cleared up for me. All of us have a different diet. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that we have a different diet. And that we have to begin to consider it, because never in the history of humanity has there been such a high incidence of disease. I mean, when you die today, you don't die of old age. You die of a disease. In fact, it has become so commonplace that what did he die of? From? Not that he died in his sleep at 110 or 200. What did he die from? And it's always a biological interference. We have to change. We have to begin to change our MO. We have to change our way of thinking. But all that comes again with a diet. Today, I was telling Mr. Guzman that I woke up this morning with a big laughter on my face, because on Thursday, which would be 2 days from now, I have not eaten in 60 days. But I'm not hungry. Why am I not hungry right now? Why my body is not asking me for food? I remember once upon a time when I came home and my grandmother didn't have the rice cooked at 11 o'clock. Oh God. I thought I was gonna die. The rice, I thought rice took 100 years to cook. And I used to sit there very impatient. I already had breakfast in the morning. Which was a very heavy breakfast. Johnny cake, fried beans, eggs, all these cow milk. Then noon, my grandmother had to have a piece of meat with rice and beans and yam or cassava. And then in the evening, fried plantain with some of the leftovers of the afternoon. But I had to eat my 3 meals. Well, on Thursday, I would not have eaten. In 1 month, you eat 90, 180 meals. How come I'm not eating 180 meals and I'm not hungry? Why was I hungry then? I was hungry then because it was all psychological. If I had the information that at my age, 18, 17, 15, 14, that I have now, I wouldn't have eaten and I wouldn't have taxed my grandmother. But I heard a piece of information that was asked of me, what did we eat before Christopher Columbus came? I said, I don't know. What did the anchor and the South American ate before Columbus came? Nobody knows. What did the American Indian eat along with the Mexican? Nobody knows. But you know what there is a habit in saying? Well, they ate corn. You know, when someone makes a statement like that or respond that way, they are totally unaware that they are showing their limitation. They're showing how limited they are and how misinformed they are. They're grossly misinformed. I was at the Maya ruins here in Honduras, and I wanted to talk to the guide, but the guide recognized who I were. And he said, Dr. Sebi? I said, yes, sir. He said, I want to talk to you when I'm through with the group. I said, I would like to ask you a question right now. He said, what is the question? I said, the question is, what did the Maya eat? The man looked at me and he began to search in his head. But before the man could give me a response, the German lady, who is part of the group, said, corn, of course. I said, there it is. The guy looked at the German woman and said to her, if the Maya had ate corn, Dr. Sebi would have never asked that question. He would have known that. Dr. Sebi, did the Maya eat corn? Absolutely not. Why? Because corn is a hybrid. It has starch. And the Maya didn't indulge in hybridization. They were clean all the way natural. Corn is unnatural. I repeat, it's a hybrid. This is why when the anthropologists, oh boy, this is delicious. When the anthropologists came to Honduras and they went to Catacamas, which is Olancho, what they saw was something that was amazing. What they found, that the early Honduran Maya, Paya, and Lenca had this, the respiratory system was intact. Anybody that eat corn, not so. It's broken. These little things are indicators that we are violating. So today, we are affording you this little talk, hoping that we could form a family to again bring back those substances, that we could begin to behave the way they behave, because today, every minute there's a serial killer. But we never associate it to malnutrition. The brain breaks down. Don't you know that when an individual is relaxed, the last thing he wants to think of is injuring another. But to be relaxed, to enjoy what is tranquility, you better eat the right food. So yes, Dr. Sebi showing that the dots connect with insanity and health.
Dr. Sebi, does the body need protein? Because that's another thing that we hear. You know, you gotta eat meat because of protein. You gotta eat this, you know, and then the vegetarians say, you don't need to eat meat, you could eat a broccoli, because that has a lot of protein.
Well, if I feel the way I feel today after 60 days of not eating, without the vegetarian food or the protein, I think something is wrong. Because the way I feel today, I wish I had felt 40 years ago. But as for protein, a word that exists. Protein! What is protein? I asked this to one of the leading authorities on the subject because she's the world leading pediatrician, Dr. Steinberg, at the Georgetown Pediatric Hospital in Washington. Dr. Steinberg told me that I didn't give a kilo of protein in 90 days. Well, I agree. I don't even know what is protein because I don't know. I heard it mentioned. It is in this, and it is in that, and it is in the other. I don't know that. One thing I do know, that if protein exists, it better be electrical if it is complementary. If protein is something that complements the human body, it has to assimilate. For it to assimilate, it has to have a definite amount of electrons per atom. Nobody in the promoters of protein has ever introduced to us a comprehensive understanding and a knowledge as to the existence of this thing. I know the word exists, but that's it. Because when I asked Dr. Steinberg what is protein, she went off on me saying, it is one of the 19 amino acids, the building blocks of life. No stuff. Amino acids? Where do we accommodate amino acids in a biological structure of an individual when the structure is made up of 102 minerals? Where do we put amino acids? And acids again? Then, the other fallacy is, they said that the highest source of protein is a hog. Oh yeah? Well, if protein is such a necessary food, hog me up. But we know that if you live on a diet of nothing but hog, which should be good because they represent protein, I should be very healthy. But if I only eat hog, I'm going to be off this planet very soon. So yes, protein is a word, like many other words. You know, like spirit. I don't know what that is. I don't know. But the word exists. Like my mind. Well, I've never seen it. But it exists. I don't know how people know these things. But all my life, I grew up, not only protein, I could name a million other words that doesn't exist. So we have to now reassess everything.
There's one thing I've realized while I've been here 2 weeks, Dr. Sebi, is that how much the food has controlled my life. You know, it's I wake up sometimes in these last 2 weeks and thought, well, I wonder what we're going to eat today. You know, what you were
Yeah.
saying before, it's a psychological thing. It's a strong psychological thing.
Oh, it's deep. It's deep. It's like the Pavlovian dog. You know, this man and the institution of conditioning reflexes. They call him Ivan Petrovich Pavlov, the Russian. He showed that you could interfere with the hypothalamus in the brain. He took a dog and gave him milk with glucose, sugar. And when that dog didn't get that milk, that dog salivated himself to death. So tell me about conditioning reflexes. I was a little boy to get here, right? I didn't jump from my mother's birth to this. I had to go through the stages. And I remember how I used to cry if my grandma didn't have anything to eat. What do you mean? I have not eaten all these plates of food. With how many I said? 90, 180. And I'm not hungry. Because what kept me alive was keeping me alive when my grandma was feeding me these cow foot soup, rice and beans. She was poisoning me, but she didn't know. And I couldn't blame her. But what was keeping me alive was the oxygen that I was breathing. Yeah, and every day I could feel it getting further and further into my lungs since I have meetings in 2 months. So you see, protein, I don't know how protein fit in the human body. I know about minerals. You see, we have to look again. But, like I said, the Bolingo Health family had began a beautiful revolution. A revolution with love, not with guns. It is changing the MO, the way we eat. Because we want to be pleasant. We want to love ourselves. Of course, I want to love me. And in order for me to love you, I better begin at home. So, I hear black people in America saying, I love white people. That's not necessarily true. Because one place where it would manifest first would be in yourself. And black America has not shown love for self. They are as divided as an African on the continent. As divided. But they, black America, treated me with a love and an understanding that it baffles me how they could say that they love white people, but they're eating rice and beans and hog foot, when that shows that they're not even in love with themselves. So what they say they love white folks is fair. It's fair that they have for the white man of America. Well, I don't fear the white man. I don't fear anybody. I don't even fear God. I don't have to fear God. Like some people say, I fear God. Well, I don't. I never have, never will. No kidding reason. I don't fear God or the devil. Because I don't have to do that. I don't live that. So, my relationship to black white people is again one of understanding that a white man has to be on this planet because he is on this planet. And all that comes with food to reach that level of understanding. You understand? That's necessary. But it's kind of funny that it is the black man of America that I see is putting forth great effort into changing the paradigm or shifting it. because something is happening with Black America. Because I was angry at them for many years because I could see their abilities. They are some of the most innovative and creative individuals on the planet, but they're not taking care of home base. And it's all related to the food. The food. The white man, he don't need to fear us. The black men of America love him, yes, in a sense. They respect him. You don't have to fear them. We died for him. I was a merchant marine. I was taking arms for him. Because that's us. That is in our DNA. And that's nice. That we're not violent. No, we aren't violent. Black people are just sick, and I'm one. I may be the sickest. But we put in great effort into what? Changing it. And this message that we are delivering today, I hope that many of us will listen, because it's getting bad, it's getting out of hand. People can't even walk in the neighborhoods and feel safe anymore. That's why it would be good to ask the North Korean, how do you keep crime out of your country for 78 years? We don't have to look at the North Korean and blast them away because we say they're communists. Communism doesn't even exist today. That's been gone. But they have a system in North Korea that would help America and the rest of the world, because they haven't had a crime in 78 years.
Wow. Didn't know that.
Isn't that something? That's beautiful. It's beautiful. They live good. You don't have to worry about going anywhere in the streets of the city of Pyongyang. But in America, it's a little bit different story. Because somebody said, how would you like to find yourself in an alley in East New York and you have a big bag of money in your hand, and when you look in front of you and in back of you, two individuals approaching you and two from the back? Are you going to feel that those individuals are coming to help you? That's a nightmare. So, even America could change. But I don't believe that they have really considered food being directly related to human behavior. And I know that it does, because when they brought to me from the country of Mexico, Chapultepec, a woman by the name of Maria Santana de Dios, they brought her very crazy. She was insane. The woman was crazy for 11 years. The woman had no control. She foaming by the mouth, and she was cursing me. But I knew why she was doing that. She was sick. Upon changing her diet and removing the toxin from her intestines, she came back a month later. I want to ask you a question, Dr. Sebi. Did I curse you out? I said, yes. You know why I cursed you out? I said, no. You look so ordinary. Bad feet. And my son paid you some money to heal me, and he took me to other people, and they were lying. And I thought that you were one of them. And she smiled, and she hugged me. And I felt that. I felt Maria Santana de Dios. But she showed me that instability, insanity, discontent, and violence only is found in a body that is on the acid side. Because when you turn, when you change your diet and you go in the alkali side, look, I was sitting in my chair before you came. And I want to get up to go to my room to do something, and the energy is saying, don't get up. And I couldn't get up. But I'm happy looking out, looking at the birds. But when you're on the acid side, you're not that contented. Because you're entertaining an internal dialogue. So America cannot hide under the canopy of I am spiritual. Oh yeah? Well, I tell you what. I only have to look at the diet of the people that claim to be spiritual. And I am convinced that they're not telling the truth. Or they may be. It may be that the word spirituality means I'm insane. Because they're eating a food that brings about insanity. So when we take the position to hide the truth, because I already know by your diet how you live. Of course I know. I know you're not contented. You cannot be, because you're eating foods that will betray you and undermine you, because it is acid-based. The first place of reaction is the central nerve system. I got you. And you're going to tell me I'm chilling. You're chilling, all right.
You know now that you mentioned the spirituality part, because of this interview will go on YouTube, and many people will say, I don't want to mention this particular person, but you teach spirituality in a very popular place out in California, and he would teach the Hindu method, Ayurveda. He developed a tumor in his brain, and I don't think he went to the Ayurveda system. He went to a medical doctor and eventually died at a young age, 64, 63.
But both were poisonous, because the Ayurvedic system, doesn't it recommend polymers? Of course it does. Because the Ayurvedic system allow their patient to eat curry.
That's right.
And they eat cow milk, cream, heavy cream. They eat potatoes. And you're going to tell me that the Ayurvedic system of medicine is one that complements? There we have problems. This is why the young man went to the Ayurvedic and he got tired, then he went to the allopathic and he died. Well, he didn't go to one that is complementary. You see, there again, I am not a member of the alternative group of practitioners. I am not a member of that. Because the alternative doesn't necessarily mean it is better than the one that is current. It's just different. It doesn't mean that it is complementary. There is a difference with alternative and complementary. So I could see the young man doing that. Because the Ayurvedic system of medicine doesn't cure the disease. They treat you. And when black people go to it, I know they're making a mistake, because they haven't considered the genetical predisposition of the black man. What they give the black man to eat, they give Chinese, they give white, they give themselves, or holy. That's a breakdown. My genetical structure is different. The food is different.
How about the homeopathic medicine?
Homeopathic medicine, oh, that is so good. One night, I'm in my office in New York at 616 Pacific Street. Dr. Roshan and Kamilini Lata came and got me. They were setting me up and I didn't notice. I didn't know it. When I got to Camille's house, a man came later named Dr. Kite. Dr. Kite from Guyana, British Guyana. He had gone to the Heinemann School of medicine of homeopathy in London, am I right?
Yes.
That's right. Me, I didn't even go to any school. He did. He got a big diploma. I didn't have anything. I don't have anything. But what I had that he didn't have was an understanding of nature, which is necessary to be affording people something that is nutrition or nutritious. Homeopathy, he was a homeopathic doctor, but I didn't know it. How I got tricked was the girls asked me, Dr. Sebi, what do you think of homeopathy? I say homeopathy is a method that recommends that the patient take oxides. Notice carefully when you get back to the United States. Everything says oxide of, oxides of calcium. Ferrous sulfate is an oxide, not iron fluorine. So now, in looking at the structure of homeopathy, what we find is that when they make the recommendation, they're making a dead recommendation. They are oxides, not phosphates, not carbonates, not iodides or bromides. I think nothing of it.
Let's take a break, and then when we come back, let's talk a little bit about some of the herbs that are not hybrids, some of the foods that are not hybrids that you recommend, and also about this great center here that you have,
Oh,
Usha Village.
definitely.